Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today I thought we might have just a little gear focused video. If you pay attention to these rumor sites online, apparently Canon is set to announce some new cameras next week. And if you watch my channel here, you would know that I've been using the Canon R5 as my main workhorse over the past 4 years since it was released back in 2020, I believe. And they are apparently going to release, or I'm not sure, they're not actually releasing the camera, but I think they're releasing the details on the Mark II of this camera next week, as I said, if you believe these rumor sites. So that got me thinking about what features I would want to see in this camera based off how I use them and what might make it worth upgrading. And I say that because this Canon R5 is a fantastic camera as it is, and I'm perfectly happy with them as is. And so it's going to take something for me to jump from this camera to whatever they have coming out in, I guess, the next month or so. And so I just wanted to put together a list, and I wanted to get feedback from y'all to I'm just interested in knowing what y'all would be looking for in a new version of this camera. So I put together a handful of items that I'm going to be looking for when they come out with this announcement, and seeing if it's going to entice me to jump to the next version of this camera. Right now, you can get this camera for right around $3,000, and I think they even mark them down sometimes less than that. So it's a great buy as is, and the new version apparently is rumored to be coming in around $4,000. So these new added features are going to, I guess for those of y'all in the market, or maybe you haven't moved to mirrorless, or maybe just kind of looking at the R5 in general, these new features are going to need to warrant probably $1,000 to $1,200 more worth of benefit. So let's get into it, and I'll talk about the things that I'm going to be looking for. The first thing would be the screen mechanism here. I would love to see something along the lines of what Sony's done recently, where you can pull the screen out from the body and then rotate it. Because when I am tethered, the USB cable goes right in over here, and when I need to bring the camera lower to get lower angled images, and I'm kind of staying where I am, I can only rotate the screen about this far before I'm hitting that tether cable. With the Sony cameras, I can, well, the latest ones, A9 III and the A7R5, well, I've got one right here, I'll show you. I've shown this before on this channel, but you can bring this screen out like this, and then you can flip it out like that, and then you rotate it. And that's just one of the benefits of having this extra movement on the screen. So I would love to see that on the next version, the Mark II version of this camera. And as I hold this, you can see that this screen does not come flat up against the body. There's a bit of an angle of it, which can throw you off a little bit when you're using it with it out there, because you want to feel like it's flat to the camera, but it's actually not. And if you're working kind of off the screen, you kind of a tendency to rotate the camera a little bit to at least I do, to make this screen flat. So, I mean, if they can just have the movement just a little bit further off this hinge, I think that would be a great benefit as well. And then maybe update or upgrade the screen brightness, all that for when you're using it outside. I don't come across that too much, but any kind of upgrade on that would be, I think, well received. One other thing that I come across sometimes, because I'm using battery strobes and I don't like to use my modeling lamps on a lot of my photo shoots, and that is low light focusing, like finding my subjects in front of my camera. Sometimes I find myself in a darker environment, and it struggles a little bit sometimes to find my subjects. That being said, this camera is the best that I've ever used with that. I just have come across sometimes some instances where I've got to turn on the modeling lamp like on my key light, so it makes it easier for this guy to find my subject, and then I'm positive that I'll have everything in focus. But that is one thing that I do come across, and maybe with the AI versions of some of these chips that are coming out in other cameras, that will aid the focusing system in finding your subjects in lower lit environments. So that'll be something I'm going to pay attention to as well. Next, and in keeping with using strobes like I do a lot, if we can up the maximum sync speed from, it's a 200th of a second now with the mechanical shutter. If you're using the electronic, I believe it's a 250th of a second. If we can get that up just a little bit, there's some benefits to that when I'm in a brighter environment and I'm trying to freeze the action in front of my camera, just having one more stop on my shutter to help with that, so where I'm not getting a little bit of ghosting on my subjects. And I think that's probably going to play into the speed of the sensor. Apparently the new one's going to have a stacked sensor, which should increase the readout rate, and will hopefully, and that will then translate to faster sync speed. So I'm hoping that that is the case there as well. So those are kind of the main things on the photo end. So there's not many things that I can find that I would really need updating with this camera. And then if you're looking at the video performance, if we can make sure there's no issues with overheating, and if you look at these rumored specs, I think that's going to be a big time focus with the Mark II version of this camera. I mean, they came out with the R5C with the big fan on it. The issue with that was the battery life in that camera. It was really, really bad battery life, and I'm not sure if it's based off the fans, the cooling, and all that kind of stuff that was going on. But I'm hoping that if they do come out with a way to keep the sensor cool in here, the processor and everything cool in here, that it's not going to drain the battery, as fast as like the R5C. So hopefully they can take care of the cooling and give us a consistent and good battery life that we can count on. Another thing in the video, when you're shooting wide and you've got the IBIS engaged on this camera, I think most of you that have watched any of these YouTube videos, you see the jello kind of in the corners when people are turning the camera or rotating the camera a little bit. I'm hoping that they've got an updated IBIS system that will fix that issue. Supposedly they were trying to fix that, I think, with some software upgrades with these firmware updates, but it never quite got, I don't think, where people could consistently use it at wider ranges on their lenses. So hopefully a new camera, a new version, and that is going to be a thing of the past as well. And then finally, like in the video, if they can give us access to their log profiles, like the C-Log 2, I kind of doubt that that's going to happen, just because of what we all know is the Canon cripple hammer. So I don't think they're going to give us access to that, but that would be nice if they would open that up for the next version of this camera. But that being said, so it's just a few little minor things that I'm going to be looking at. Hopefully we're surprised with some things. If you go down the list of rumored specs here, I mean, it's going to be the same 45 megapixel sensor, which I feel like anywhere in that 45 to 40 range to me is a sweet spot. You get above that and then you start running into these larger file sizes, and you need to become worried about storage and all that kind of stuff with that. And that size I feel like gives you plenty of room to crop in and do a lot of things based off of your end use. And this day and age, with most things being online or digital, and then now with software where you can enlarge your images pretty much without losing any quality, that I just feel like is a great area from 40, 45, where it is. So I'm happy with that. They're supposed to have a new EVF design. That'll be interesting to see. It looks like here it's going to be the same frame rate on the mechanical end. And then they've got, I think it might be a little bit quicker on the electronic, but the electronic, when you're using the electronic shutter, you can run into the rolling shutter stuff, and based off of how fast things are moving in front of your camera, things get a little bit warpy. So hopefully this stack sensor will take care of that for us. You can see where they're talking about the cooling with the grip, and then in the body, 8K 60 video potentially. It looks like the card slots are going to be the same. I know probably a lot of people wanted the dual Type B CF Express cards, but it doesn't look like that is going to be happening. But who knows how accurate this stuff is. But I just want to come on here. It's fun to being in this business. These are our tools. It's kind of to me it's fun when they're impending. It's kind of almost like a Christmas type thing where it's there's an impending release of a updated version of what it is we use to create our work with. So hopefully y'all found this interesting from my point of view. Please leave your points of view down, your thoughts and wants for an updated version of this camera, if you feel like it's even worth upgrading from, because they are still fantastic tools to use. But drop those down below. If you feel like this video is worthy, hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down there to see more content just like this in the future. In the meantime, you can find me on social media at quantzphoto on Instagram, as well as ProLight Mods on Instagram. Y'all stay safe and healthy out there, and I will see y'all again soon in the next one.